Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're setting our sights on the absolute summit of English football. We are talking about Alan Shearer, the Premier League record. It's the greatest goal-scoring benchmark in the league's history, a record so massive, it literally casts a shadow over every single striker who laces up their boots. So let's explore the anatomy of a true footballing giant.
Okay, let's dive into this. 260, it's not just a statistic, It is an unbreakable mountain that has loomed over the Premier League since 2006. To put this into perspective, scoring 20 goals in a single season is considered a massive achievement for a world-class striker, right? Well, to reach 260, you would have to hit that 20-goal mark every single year for 13 consecutive seasons. It requires a level of stamina, skill, and sheer grit that's almost impossible to replicate.
Now, you might be wondering about the broader context. Since the Premier League's formation back in 1992, thousands of players have graced the pitch, but only a highly exclusive group of 35 players have managed to score 100 or more goals. They call this the 100 Club. We're talking absolute legends of the game here, from Thierry Henry to Didier Drogba. But while these 35 players have reached the summit of 100 goals, our focus today is on the one guy who climbed significantly higher than anyone else.
Section 1, Glory Days at Blackburn, Building the Legend.
Let's rewind to the 94-95 season. Calling it historic honestly doesn't even do it justice. Owner Jack Walker's dream was finally realized as Blackburn Rovers won their first English league title in 81 years. And Alan Shearer, he was the absolute engine behind the whole thing. Right out of the gate in August, he's scoring in the opening games against Southampton and Leicester. By November, he's taking home Player of the Month honors alongside his strike partner Chris Sutton. And then in May, after this incredibly thrilling final day, his goals propelled Blackburn to win the title by a nail-biting 1-point margin over Manchester United.
And just look at this ridiculous list of accolades from that one single season. Premier League champion, an incredible 34 league goals, the Golden Boot, and voted the PFA Players' Player of the Year by his own peers. It's so vital to remember that these aren't just dry stats on a page. These are the undeniable marks of a striker absolutely dominating the highest level of the sport, just completely overpowering defenders week in and week out.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how unstoppable his momentum was. The very next season, 95-96, instead of slowing down or suffering a championship hangover, he goes and sets a Guinness World Record by scoring 5 hat tricks in a single Premier League campaign. 5! He mercilessly punished teams like Coventry, Forest, West Ham, Bolton, and Tottenham. He finished that season with yet another Golden Boot, bagging 31 goals. His scoring pace was just relentless.
Section 2, Newcastle's hometown hero, the world record return.
So, this record is truly a tale of two halves. Coming off a stellar performance at Euro 96, scoring 5 goals in 5 games, literally all the top clubs across the continent were jostling for his signature. But in a highly publicized, deeply emotional move, he decided to return to his roots in Tyneside. He leaves Blackburn Rovers, having scored 112 league goals for them, and joins his boyhood club, Newcastle United, for what was then a staggering world record transfer fee.
What happened next was a decade of mind-boggling consistency. From 1996 all the way to 2006, Shearer made 405 appearances across all competitions for Newcastle, netting 148 Premier League goals. Playing under managers like Sir Bobby Robson, he just kept hitting double figures every single season. And in doing so, he achieved something totally unique. He pushed past the 100-goal barrier for a second club. To this day, he is the only player to ever score 100 Premier League goals for 2 different teams.
The absolute pinnacle of his Newcastle career arrived in February 2006. That's when he broke Jackie Milburn's magical club record of 200 goals. Reflecting on that monumental strike against Portsmouth at the Gallagate end, Shearer said, 15 or 20 minutes after that goal, the hairs on the back of my neck were still standing up. You can just feel the emotion, right? It is a perfect moment at St. James Park, forever cementing his legacy as Newcastle's greatest ever goal scorer.
Section 3, Anatomy of the Record, how the mountain was built. But seriously, how do you actually score 260 goals? Let's look at the underlying metrics. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the breakdown of these strikes. Out of the 260 goals, 204 were non-penalty goals, and 56 came from the penalty spot. And get this, those 56 successful penalties actually earn him a second Guinness World Record for the most successful penalties taken in the English Premier League. It shows this incredibly lethal, reliable edge. Whenever the pressure was highest, Shearer delivered. And then there's this number,
146.9. Throughout his entire Premier League career, spanning 14 years, he remarkably averaged a goal every 146.9 minutes on the pitch. I mean, think about how difficult it is to maintain that kind of efficiency through injuries, changing tactics, and just simply aging. It is a massive testament to his physical resilience and his unwavering focus in front of goal.
Plus, he wasn't just compiling stats over a long, drawn-out period. He was breathtakingly fast out of the gate. Shearer was the original trailblazer, the very first player ever to reach 100 Premier League goals, and he did it in just 124 games. He essentially set the ultimate benchmark right at the dawn of the Premier League era, creating the target that everyone else would eventually have to chase.
Section 4. Challengers to the Crown. The Fallen Kings.
So here's the stark reality of chasing this guy. Out of all the players in Premier League history, only 3 men have ever crossed the 200-goal threshold. You've got Wayne Rooney at 208, Harry Kane at 213, and way out in front, Alan Shearer at 260. Despite the absolute brilliance of Kane and Rooney, the visual gap between them and Shearer is just huge. A 47-goal difference separates first and second place.
So the crucial point is understanding why even these legends couldn't catch him. If we look closely at the data, Harry Kane actually had a more efficient strike rate. He took just 127.5 minutes per goal compared to Shearer's 146.9. Plus, Kane had far fewer penalties, boosting his numbers. But here's the catch. Kane left the Premier League after 320 appearances. Shearer played 441. It's that brutal, ultra-rare combination of elite efficiency and absolute longevity that kept Shearer's record safe from the fallen kings.
Section 5. The Haaland Threat. An Incoming Storm.
Enter Erling Haaland. Remember how we said Shearer was the fastest to 100 goals, doing it in 124 games? Well, in December 2025, Erling Haaland officially shattered that long-standing record. He blasted his way into the 100 club in an unbelievable 111 games. He's currently the fastest player to reach that tally in English football, outpacing even Shearer's blistering early career form. But here is the truly terrifying statistic that has everyone frantically checking the record books. Haaland is currently averaging a strike every 92.9 minutes. Let that sink in for a second. He is essentially scoring a goal a game. When you compare that to historical averages, Haaland's pace feels like a ticking clock, literally counting down the days on Shearer's reign. Let's move to and see how this builds, because mathematically, Haaland's path to 260 is pretty clear. Sitting at 100 goals, he needs exactly 160 more to tie the record. If he continues this terrifying current strike rate, he only needs another 166 matches to get there. Assuming he plays a very reasonable average of 32 league matches per season, the projections show he'll match Alan Shearer's all-time record halfway through the 2030-2031 season.
Which leaves us with this massive, hanging question. Will Erling Haaland actually conquer the 260-goal mountain by 2031? He's under contract with Manchester City until the summer of 2034. If he stays in England and, importantly, stays healthy, the math says the impossible is suddenly possible. Are we witnessing the final years of Alan Shearer's reign, or will the grueling rigors of the Premier League protect its greatest record once again? Honestly, that's exactly what makes this game so incredibly fascinating to watch.